applause, round of applause. Let's get into it. Let's get comfortable. I'm very nervous myself, but we're gonna get into it and have some fun with this in this conversation itself. I feel like all of us are all based here in Joburg. Anyone outside of Joburg, outside of actually Gauteng, actually, in itself, everyone's city dwellers, I'm guessing, right? Oh, okay, where you from, man? Eh? Kimberley. Oh snap, Northern Cape. Shout out. Shout out, guys. I think, yeah, I feel like so this conversation is very much related to us in itself. Arts in the city. I feel like art is, as in Joburg, art is always around us, whether it's graffiti when we're driving or just even digital and graphic art from the most incredible places. It's truly incepted into the culture of our city, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it first and foremost, just in general. How do you find the art world and how it's kind of affected the city itself?
Cool. I think for myself, the arts world is a very interesting one. There's a lot of classism in itself, you know. Most of the time art is like looked at for just the elite, you know, when you look at the pricing of art and how difficult it is sometimes to access art. A lot of people, I'd say, get thrown off the idea of even getting involved with art because they feel like maybe they can't afford it or it's just too far-fetched, you know. And I think that's the break in translation we have, I'd say, for my people as Black people, where like the system has sort of created this world that has made it hard for us to acquire art, you know. But there's a new wave of artists right now, and everything that's happening in the city is about that, you know. The new breeds of artists, we're using social media to tell our stories, you know. So I really love what's happening in the city because we're no longer waiting for the galleries. You know, as an artist, the gallery was like, if you don't make it in the gallery, then you ain't shit, you know. But right now, the power's in our hands, you know. Artists now are selling artworks on Instagram, you know. For me, myself, I haven't been in a gallery before, but I've been selling art every month just on my social media alone, you know, which just shows that there's been a break in the system where we aren't that much controlled anymore, you know. And so literally in the city right now, everything is open, you know. And that's what I'd like to suggest for any of you guys. If you're artists, yes, the galleries are dope, yes, it's a dope cosign, but don't let that limit you. Don't let you not being in a gallery make you feel like you're not good enough. You know, there's collectors out there, there's people that generally are gonna love your work and they're gonna buy it regardless, you know. So I really love what's happening in the city right now.
All right, and your thoughts, Tim?
Please ask me the question again.
What is your thoughts on how can I say the art world and how the city is kind of how much the city kind of seeps into the art world and the art world into the city, in your perception and your understanding of it, what you felt?
For me, it feels like we're in a time where there's an interesting landscape in art itself. We're in quite a bustling, like, there's so much movement, and I feel like there's so much opportunity for community, you know. And I think that's what I enjoy about this place, is the fact that our art thrives through community.
All right. I think another question that I actually wanted to ask, it was actually also similar to like your response, JD, in terms of how you've been using even like online landscape in itself to push the sales and not only be in the art galleries in itself. How has the city like impacted your ability to, like, I don't know, economically benefit from your art in itself? Like let's say take it, you were here versus if you were in somewhere like really far, I don't want to say rural, but like not Joburg in itself. How has that shown a difference?
I'd say it's a privilege to be in Joburg just because of the community of people that understand art, you know. Personally, I grew up in Durban, and so the landscape there is completely different to what's happening here. There's way more creatives, and there's way more people that understand, they have an understanding of creative stuff, you know. So when you create, they're more welcoming to new ideas, you know. So like being in a city like Joburg, it's very vibrant, you know, and there's so many people as well, you know. And that's the dope thing about being in a busy city like this, is that there's so many people that could potentially buy your art, because you don't need to get boxed into one type of audience, because there's just so much going on. You know, you might think your art isn't dope, but like you might find that there's a whole audience of people that will love your art, you know, just because there's so much going on. So for me, like, yeah, Joburg has been super dope in that sense of like, there's just so many communities, and it's literally about finding the community that you fit in, the community that you like to be in, you know. And for me personally, I like being in spaces like this where I can engage with other creatives, you know. Other artists, they love being in galleries and holding a glass of wine. You know, there's different type of artists, but it's about finding your community, the people that fucks with your art, and you sort of being in that space.
Yeah. All right. Now, I feel like I'm missing the main subject that was actually asked, which is basically around sustainability within the art world. So I wanted to actually ask you first, I saw your work downstairs, absolutely incredible in itself. Just like the exploration and just your different perspective is amazing. How have you made your creative like journey sustainable, both financially or just overall mental health wise? Because that's something that's like really needs to be taken into the consideration, because like as much as we're young now, guys, we're enjoying it, but we know of a lot of stories of people that wanted to do what we do, wanted to like create, or they did at some point and then they gave up on life. So I think understanding how you guys tackle it and how you guys allow yourself to be sustainable and grow, so that it never comes a time where all of this becomes the past. I used to do art, I used to be in these spaces. So how do you make it sustainable for yourself?
Okay, that's a beautiful question. For me, I think what sustains me more than anything is my thinking around my practice. I think I don't necessarily make to economically benefit, but I make as a sort of self-ritual to keep myself alive, you know, to keep my thoughts and my ideas alive, to keep my soul alive. I think my art sustains itself through its connections with other people, how they receive it, you know. Maybe I'm not speaking in economically, because then if that's the question, then I think my other passions feed into the growth of my own art, you know. I think, which is really important to have multiple streams of keeping this thing together, because that's how you become a starving artist, you know. I don't think it can thrive alone, because how often can you make a piece that will make you like 500K a month consistently, you know? So yeah, I think for me it's how I think about my art that sustains it, essentially, not necessarily what benefits from it. Yeah, making for me is a form of healing, a form of communication, and also just it's transcendental. Yeah, I think that's the only way I can answer that. Yeah.
Oh, you have all right. Man was ready for it.
Yeah, I was ready for that question because it's a very deep one. I'd say for me, like, you have to look at your creativity as a business, you know. And when you're running a business, you need cash flow. Now, the conversation is, how are you going to find money to feed your creativity? So you need to like deep search into what other passions you have outside of painting, outside of fashion, outside of music. Figure out what else are you good at, you know. Whether you get a job, whether you work part-time, you really need to not get emotional about what you're doing to fund your art, but you really need to treat it like a business, because if you can't buy the resources to paint, then you can't paint, you know. And what's gonna make your mental health suffer is if you're suffocating, frustrated because you want to create art, but you don't have the tools to do so. So you really need to start treating everything you're doing as a business, as a brand, and realize that I'm investing into the person that I want to be. You know, yes, maybe the job you're working at sucks. Yes, maybe you don't want to be a waiter. Maybe you don't want to work at a call center, whatever. But you have to look at it as a business, as this is getting me cash flow to invest into the person I am going to become. So for me, that's really what helped my mental health. You know, it helps you to not feel stagnant, being able to get money from somewhere else and then investing that back into your art. That's sustainability for me. That's where you don't burn out. If the only thing you're doing is your art and you're trying to sell it and it's not selling, you're going to go down very quickly, and that's what's going to make you give up.
Wow. Nah, that's incredible. That is incredible. Actually seeing your art as more of a, in a sense, a business, but I want to also, on your side, allowing your art to be kind of a transcendent, like a transcending kind of mindset that's kind of developing you over time. So as a result, that you won't be the same artist you were 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, even like 2 months ago, if you're just constantly in the process of it. So I think keeping that yin and yang. So I'm glad you guys were both in the panel, because if you have it all business, you will get to a point where you might not be creatively inclined and you just might seem like someone else in itself. But if you don't have yourself in tune, then you're gonna have an issue. Nah, that's incredible. I think another part that I actually have, especially this year, especially being in the city of like Joburg in itself, because just a quick backstory on me, guys. I just landed in Joburg like fully at the beginning of this year. I was born here and like grew up here up until like uni. Uni I was in Pretoria, Hatfield side, and I kind of found my space, found my community within the creative and the business world in itself. For this thing I'll tell you guys later, because it's not about my stuff right now. But wait, sorry about that. With that, I got into a space of like now trying to find and understand the Joburg scene, understand how Joburg creatives like move. How do you guys understand it? I realized how much community plays a role into this. And with that, I want to guys ask you guys about how does community bring about like the development and the sustainability of your art. I don't know who wants to go first.
No, I want to think about that.
I'd say for me, like, community is a big thing, you know. So like events like these are like so powerful for creatives, because it literally gives us a platform to showcase what we're about. And without communities like this, then we're limited, you know. As much as we have social media, as much as we have the internet, but it's very powerful to be around people and allow people to sort of interact with your creation. So like communities like this keep the city alive, you know, especially Joburg City. There's a lot of stuff happening, you know, in the rich areas, in Sandton, whatever. But like Joburg City needs stuff like this, and it's these sort of communities that keep us as artists hopeful in the city. You know, they allow us to continue staying here because we see the benefits of being around our people, you know. So for me, like, communities like this, it's a big thing. Without it, we don't get to interact with our audience, and the people don't get to interact with our art. And if you can't see the face behind the artwork, sometimes it's hard to connect with what it's really about. So community is everything for me.
All right. Community is everything, especially with your artwork. Have you found it?
What was the question again? Sorry.
How does community play a role
in my making? Okay. Like, I think for me, the people that I surround myself with, the communities that I create around me, like, sort of inform what I make, because it's an exchange of minds, it's an exchange of ideas, and so that feeds into your work. I think you would go mad, like, if all you have is, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the art can grow further, because it's contained in your own sort of, yeah, you build barriers for it. I think people need to share in order to make, and in order for the art to grow, for the work to exist outside of self, you know. Yeah.
With that also being said, just I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I just wanted to ask you guys, how has collaboration played a role in sustainability of your art in the city, I guess?
Yeah, collaboration, guys. Collaboration is everything. I say this to a lot of people I meet. I'm always like, collaborate. As artists, we like to live in our own world of like, I'm doing my thing, and he's doing his thing, and she's doing his thing. But the thing is, as one person, you're limited into how much you can do. But when you collaborate with somebody else, you tap into a different audience, you know. So for me personally, I like collaborating with other artists because we get to sort of like feed each other off of our creation. We get to create something new that's unique, but also the person I collaborate with gets to engage with my audience. So my people get to see their work, and also my people get to see their work, and vice versa, you know. So it's about tapping into new audiences and using every tool at your disposal. And collaboration is the only thing that's free, where you can tap into a variety of different audiences. So if you can collaborate with whoever is like-minded, whoever is on the same page as you, whoever style you like, if you can collaborate with those people, it grows both of you, you know. And collaboration is really about, it has to be equally beneficial for both parts, you know. It can't just be self-serving for one person and not so much for the next person. It really has to be like a 50-50. We both need to benefit. That's the only way collaboration really works. But when it does, it can do wonders.
Amazing. Your thoughts on collaboration?
Definitely, I think collaboration is so important, man. Because as beings, we have this certain scope of skill sets, and yours definitely may vary to mine. So like a combination of worlds creates something so beautiful, I think. Yeah. Art grows from that. Yeah.
Art grows from collaboration. With that being said, this is definitely a self-plugging moment. I'm not gonna lie, guys. That was a very terrible question. I won't lie. I'm a businessman. I always see a market opportunity and I get at it. So, guys, I'm a huge advocate about collaboration, bringing together people and skills in itself, and to the point that me and my team for the past 20 months have been building a community of creatives and entrepreneurs to collaborate together, to create projects, whether it's the stuff that you guys are working on in itself, and to, in a sense, exchange your skills and manage your stuff so you can like grow in itself. And that's what Collab is. Collab is a platform for creatives such as yourselves to connect, to collaborate, to create projects. Whether you have your shoot somewhere and you need models for something, you're having a concept that you've always had in itself. That's what collaboration brings. And that's what is even like so amazing, just to hear such great artists such as yourselves have such a huge emphasis on collaboration in itself. So that was just, I'm not gonna lie, that was just like an advert in itself. But before we get into that, I just want, I just want to get into a Q&A with everybody. I don't know if anybody has questions around everything that's been discussed, just around sustainability and keeping that going. If anybody has some thoughts, some shares, or even explaining what you're working on right now, you want to tell everybody.
I wanted to talk about, you guys shared your thoughts on collaboration and such, and I wanted to ask how you personally like approach collaboration. I think sometimes it's not always easy to just be like, yo, I did your stuff, dude, what's going on, you know? So like, how do you guys approaching certain people that you want to collaborate with and all that, yeah?
So, well, personally, I don't think I'd just be out here with the thought, oh my God, I need to collaborate with someone. You know, I think I want it to be an organic experience where I just connect with you and how you think so much that I want to create something with you, you know. Yeah, it needs to be a natural gravitation towards whomever I'm going to be working with, you know. Yeah, I need to know you as a human first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'd say for me, collaboration is mainly skill sets based, right? So, for example, I might have a lot of ideas for design. You know, I might make a bunch of t-shirts, I might paint a bunch of stuff, I might have ideas, but I might not be able to. So, you know, if you're a designer and you're a seamstress, then for me, that's somebody I can collaborate with because there's a concept I have, but I need your skill sets to bring it to life. So my collaboration most of the time is skill sets based. If there's something that you can do to aid in the creation, then I want us to collaborate because then you can help me to achieve my goal. But within that, you also get to be part of something. You know, you get to be part of a grand idea. So for me, like, it's mainly skill sets wise. It's if I don't have a camera and I need to take content, well then I'd like to collaborate with somebody who has a camera, who can shoot and edit. In turn, we might exchange services. I might do an artwork for him, I might do a cover art for him, I might do this or this or that. You know, a fashion label, I might ask them to do some clothes for me. In turn, I might create 3 designs that they can print on their t-shirts. So it's just about like sort of like that yin and yang of like exchanging skill sets, but still keeping it beneficial for everyone.
Yeah, guys, this is the type of marketing you can't pay for. Like, seeing both of your guys' sides, very much emphasis on the human elements and also on the skills base. I think on my side, I've kind of seen it in the sense of like kind of seeing how, like, you know, collaborations do work and when they don't. And I think it's like both elements of the human elements being acknowledged as well as the the skill gap and the skill void. But I think another element that just kind of combines them both is just like, how can I say, the vision of what you're trying to do, the project in itself. The project brings the people, and that's what brings people to collaborate. If you don't have an alignment of a vision, that like if you don't have an alignment, like for example this event in itself, the vision was to create an event for you guys in itself. The alignment of the vision brought the connection of the human and the skills coming together. If you guys don't have, if you're bringing up a collaboration, if you're creating a project on Collab and you're doing something, if you don't have the vision of what you're trying to achieve, no one's going to want to work with you, even if you've got it or you don't. So I think if you lead, of course, with understanding of the human elements of it, that you're talking to a person, not a job set or something. That's something that, like, a lot of people get wrong with networking in the business side and the entrepreneurial side, which I'm really deep into the community of, as well as the tech. Because that's where people, how many of you guys like networking? Huh? Yeah. How many of you guys do it often? Yeah. It's one of those things where it's very flawed in the way that people try to like expand on it, to just try to be like, oh, let me talk to everyone, get everyone's contacts in itself, and you don't follow up. When in actuality, you haven't talked to this person on a human level. You don't know why they do what they do in itself and what their vision is. So why would you want to work with them? It's not even networking, you're just creating context in itself. So bringing that into collaboration, having a human element as well as having that skill gap identifying and having a common vision being driven, I think that's what makes the greatest collaborations. I don't know how many questions do we have? Okay, two more questions.
We spend a lot of time and resources on trying to grow an audience, especially in terms of creative resources, that we don't, and then we end up not seeing the fruitfulness of those sort of ventures. So I want to know, how can we sort of grow our audiences without spending too much on those resources and sort of getting to a burnout?
Thank you for that question. It's tricky. I think sometimes you can't necessarily control. I don't know what that was. Sorry, guys. You can't necessarily control like the almost like the increments of how your audience grows. I think what's important is to just make the work. Just make the work and let it, like, throw it out like seeds and see whose ground it lands upon and how it grows from there, you know, how people receive it, you know. I think it again, like, I don't think there should be a certain, like, it shouldn't be formulaic and almost calculated. I don't know, just personally for me, you know, I think what's important is just make work and just let it live outside of your space. I think that's how the audience grows, because then it's who connects with the work that then becomes your audience. Yeah.
I think for me, what I figured the best way when it comes to growing your audience is, first you have to sort of like emotionally detach yourself from the responses of people. This is a big thing that slows down artists from releasing the work, because they're so over concentrated on, are people gonna like this? Are they gonna comment? How do they feel about this? You sort of have to accept you're an artist and you have to live that way, you know, and the artist doesn't care who likes it. As long as you like it, that's all the value. So when it comes to growing your audience, you have to remember you're an artist, you're not a content creator. So trying to do challenges and all of this stuff, you're gonna burn out very quickly, because that's not who you are or what you're about. If it is who you are, go for it, you know. But when it comes to building an audience, you have to really think about sustainability, which means you have to do things that feel organic to you. You know, I know the word organic is cheesy, but do things that come easily to you. If you're a person that can just take a phone and talk about something, if that comes easily to you, keep doing that. Don't get stressed about, oh, so-and-so did the content and they had 3 cameras and then they edited like this, because you can't keep up with that because you don't have the resources to do that. So first and foremost, you need to do something that comes easily, you know, but also you need to not worry too much about the responses, you know. In time, the universe is going to respond and things are going to pick up gradually.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm also learning here. I think on my side, I think as artists, having to understand that the algorithm, both whichever platform you want to use, was never meant for us. It wasn't meant for our original work. It wasn't meant for our nuanced opinions. It wasn't meant for our incredible artwork in itself to thrive. It was literally meant for a system to be repeated. It's like, what brings the most amount of eyes? Oh, okay, bikini pics. And as a result, trying to, like, I think that's piggybacking off of both of you guys are saying, and it's so that it's like trying to find that and try to competing with that it's a recipe for disaster, and it's something even on my side I've learned against. The one thing that I've learned for is definitely, I guess, finding your army. What I mean by that is like finding people who love what you do and basically keep on making stuff for them, as well as making stuff for yourself. Like for me on my side, guys, I won't lie to you, I don't have big numbers at all. I make content videos about my entrepreneurial journey, and I tell stories about places I go, events and stuff, both creative and business world in itself, and I call them Here's the Stories. And what's crazy about that is that I never get hugely like high views or anything like that, and it's kind of in a sense stayed stagnant. But what's been incredible is seeing the numbers and being like, oh damn, fuck, no one cares. But then actually I'd be walking in the street in Hatfield and some guy that I don't know has seen my stuff and has seen it on a continuous basis. I'm like, yo bro, I love what you do. And seeing that, oh snap, someone is watching, and acknowledging them and seeing what they do, and in self growing your army. It's like, oh, that person will repost you. that person on Instagram, every time you're there, every time you post about something, being true to yourself and finding people that align with that allows you to, in a sense, create a bigger net that in itself, it might look like the numbers aren't there, but when you host an event, the people come. I know content creators on a personal basis that like, yo, they've got a following, like hugely so. But when it comes to, oh, let's host an event and have viewers headlining, people don't come. Like the crowd is not there, or the people that do come didn't come for that person. It was just like, oh, okay, cool. So having that understanding of the army that you're raising and the army that you're creating through the artwork and your own nuanced perspective and just exploring around that, I think that's how you grow your audience over time. And when it hits, I guess. That's one. I think we have one more. It's time for one more question, right? All right.
One of Radio TV. I apologize for coming late. So, by the way, we have a new Minister of Arts and Culture, and I think this event is quite appropriate to, in fact, if we can actually just highlight that, because, you guys are artists, and let's be honest, we all know that you guys got your struggles, despite the fast pacing that comes along with social media and whatnot, that gives you guys pressure. There's a whole lot that you guys would love the government to do for you. And first of all, I'd like just the three of you to say something on one particular thing that you'd like to see happen or change. And you say it directly to the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, which is Mr. Yeah. And secondly, how do you guys as artists maintain the psyche, the psychological strength when it comes to the fact that South Africans don't really support art. They love art, but they don't put money where their love is or where their heart is. And sometimes you find you're quite a great artist, like you say, content creator, and people love you. But now you don't have the money to live for it. What I know about us, when it's small, look, give it takes. You know what I mean? And how do you guys then maintain the psychological strength to keep going?
Thank you. Those were beautiful questions. I think I'll leave the first one to my fellow panelist. I'll answer the second one in terms of how to maintain the mental strength or the psyche. Ooh, it's a difficult one. I think the act of making is a confrontational. It's a confrontational practice where sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But like I said, I think it's how I approach the act of making in the beginning that sustains my mental state, which is that this thing that I do, it's necessary not for people to see, but for me to communicate, to be able to translate the things that I don't understand happening within me, things that I don't have the words for. It's sort of like a purge. It's a purge, just as much as we confront our traumas and memories and experiences within our artworks. I think for me, it then becomes a healing performance to make. I honestly, I don't care much about the reaction first before I care about whatever it is that's coming out of me, whatever it is that I need to express. For me, making is almost synonymous to breathing, to let out and to let in. That's my thinking around it, and that's, I think, how I stay sane, even with these chaotic things that happen in my mind. That's how I stay sane, by being able to see it on a piece of canvas or in a film or in a photograph, you know, it allows me to confront certain truths. Yeah, I could say more, but it's...
Wow, that's incredible. On my side, I think I'm just going to keep mine brief. It feels like, just the first or second question, and I'll answer the first one. It feels like, okay, full disclosure, I am not a complete creative, but I'm not a complete tech guy. I'm like I'm biracial in that kind of way, guys, in itself, because I'm both in the entrepreneurial and the tech world and tech startup, Silicon Valley type stuff, but then also in the creative space and understanding and fully being within it and everything to do with collab and the design and the look and outlook and understanding what creatives need and all of that stuff. That's me. So as a result, and also the storytelling that we take on in our brand. So I consider myself a tech creative. That's how I label myself. And the way that we sustain through it on my side is, I don't know if you guys relate to this, but every time you're doing your thing, especially when it's hitting, it feels like you're discovering your superpower. Like you I don't know, one of my favorite scenes in any superhero movie, especially an origin movie, like the Spider-Man movies, is when they discover their powers. And they see them like climbing the walls, or if it was Iron Man 1, him creating the first suit and all of that stuff. But I feel like that's what art is in itself. Every time you're doing it, you feel like, oh snap, and you do the things that you didn't think was possible, whether you're making a crazy shoot which came out incredible with the photos and stuff like that. It feels like you're constantly swinging from city to city, from skyscraper to skyscraper. And that's how we sustain ourselves in itself. And to the second one, to the first question, what would we ask the government in itself? I say, meet us halfway. I think definitely meeting us halfway, because at the end of the day, Joburg is super creative in itself. This space, this room in itself, this rooftop in itself shows it. And meeting us halfway as to not giving us so many hindrances for getting funding for the art that we're doing, because most of us here are doing our work without getting funded. Like, I don't know who's getting funded by their work, but somehow we're making it work. So we need the government in itself to be on our side, making the grant application processes easier, making it more public in itself, because it feels like a state secret as to how to actually get funding for the art that you're doing in itself. So I say, just making that easier, making it more accessible, or at least contacting us in terms of becoming advocates of, hey, you got a short film, this is how you apply for grant funding for it, what you need for it in itself, and lowering that, but allowing us to grow it even further.
Yeah, I'm just gonna answer the first one. So yes, we have a new sports and arts minister. Am I excited? I don't know yet. To be honest, I think the break in translation has always come in the system of not having the right people in the places to really impact on a grassroots level, and there's so much that is done. If we were to go to the government's websites and check the contracts, there's so many millions floating around. The only problem is it doesn't seem to get to grassroots level. And I don't think it's necessarily about pointing fingers about whose fault it is. I think it's mainly about just not having the right people in the government who understand art enough to know where to go. Not having the right people in power to see things like this and know that this is actually impacting artists on a grassroots level. There's too many loopholes, there's too many things to go around trying to apply for funding. Also, if you don't know somebody on the inside, then there's also that. At the end of the day, we're still in South Africa. And then there's a whole conversation of if you're gonna do something, then you have to pay somebody in order to get a certain contract. So there's so many things that are limiting young creatives to actually become entrepreneurs. And as much as there's so much talent, there's so many ideas, unfortunately a lot of old people are really slowing us down because they don't want to allow the young people to be in positions of power. And so what I'd like to say for the minister is find the right people, find young, vibrant creatives to be in positions because they are here. And it's the people that actually see what's happening in the ground who understand that, you know what, this is actually going to implicate and change artists' lives, as opposed to giving 2 million to some major events that already has 10 sponsors. How about we just bring some money here to the events that have no sponsorship but actually implicate and help artists? That's what I'd like to say.
Facts right there. All right, guys. I think we've gone on for a while. Yeah. The bosses have dictated. Guys, this was actually a very incredible session. I hope you guys got something out of it in terms of trying to, I guess discuss a whole lot of sustainability within the city in itself, making your art more sustainable, how to what collaboration in itself, true collaboration means in itself, and just also what we need to be doing right now as we're in these spaces. And thanks goodness to Art Collective and everyone that's like, that we're here, guys, we're here now, let's talk to each other, let's tell each other our visions, not just tell each other, oh, what's your name, where we can collaborate. Let's tell each other, I'm trying to make a crazy shoot on that rooftop right there. So guys, on my side, please download Collab, follow us, and on our side, we're trying to build this thing up so that we can connect together. I want to see more projects. We're having short films on this platform. We're having a couple of things just moving on, and I just want to get us to a state where we're providing more value to you guys so you guys can execute crazier and crazier projects, because Joburg creatives are another beast. Like, that's what I've discovered this year. It's like you guys are on a whole other level, from the way that you walk, the way that you enter events, to the point that how you guys are even dressed right now in itself, it's incredible. So I think, let's cook, let's go crazy, download Collab, and your final thoughts, final remarks?
I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for everyone that's here to exchange ideas, to exchange soul, and just conversate. I appreciate spaces like these for that, because I always feel like I will always leave with the gem. So thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, guys. Really enjoyed being here. It was a privilege. I'd just like to say, let's just keep this going to Kollective sessions, Bacon Bask. Let's just do these more regularly. They're really important for us. Lastly, we both have some artwork downstairs if you guys would like to check that out. If you'd like to follow me, it's Jaybe Thorne with the E. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.